Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something truly fascinating in the world of business law. We're focusing specifically on the Indian Contract Act of 1872, and we are going to explore perfectly valid, entirely one-sided legal contracts. I know, it sounds like a total contradiction, right? But as you'll see, the law actually allows for some very specific rule breakers. So let me ask you this right off the bat. Can a contract be legally valid if it is completely one-sided? Usually we think of a contract as a two-way street. I give you something, you give me something. But what happens when only one person gives? Can that actually hold up in court? To answer that, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Golden Contract Rule, then explore exceptions like love, affection, and gifts, voluntary service and charity, and the agency exception, before wrapping everything up with our final legal takeaways. Okay, Section 1, the Golden Contract Rule. Before we break the rules, we have to understand what makes a contract valid in the first place. The absolutely crucial concept here is consideration. According to Section 2D of the Act, consideration basically happens when two parties decide to have an exchange in the process of a contract. In the simplest terms possible, you have to give something to get something. Otherwise, generally speaking, there is no contract. So, the standard rock-solid rule is no consideration, no contract. But, and this is a big but, the law provides actual loopholes. Under Section 25 of the Act, there are 5 specific rule-breaker exceptions where a contract is entirely valid even if there is absolutely no proper consideration. Section 2. Love, affection, and gifts. Now, you might think you could just casually claim natural love and affection to get a free pass on a contract. Well, not quite. There are strict legal steps required. Step 1, it has to be a written document. Step 2, it must be a registered document. And Step 3, the parties involved must be the nearest people, which means family or blood relations. So it is definitely not a free-for-all. Let's bring this to life. Imagine an elder brother who steps forward to help his younger brother out of a major financial crisis. He does this completely willingly, out of natural love and affection. Even though there is zero return consideration, no money or goods coming back from that younger brother, as long as the agreement is written and registered, that contract is perfectly valid under the law. Okay, staying in this personal realm, we have the gift exception. Think about parents passing down an inheritance to their kids. The property is being gifted, so there is no consideration flowing from the kids back to the parents. Yet, it's 100% legally valid. And importantly, this exception isn't just limited to family. Gifts can be totally valid between friends, neighbors, or even colleagues without requiring anything at all in return. Section 3. Voluntary service and charity. First up, voluntary service. A contract can actually be valid if one party renders a service voluntarily, without any expectation of return. For example, say Party A finds Party B's lost mobile phone. Without expecting a reward, Party A tracks down Party B and returns it. Party A is just acting out of everyday humanity. Legally speaking, this forms a valid situation without any expected consideration. Similarly, we have charity. A contract can be completely valid if someone gives funds to a charity for its survival, like donating to an orphanage, an old age home, or a rehabilitation center. Obviously, the charity isn't giving anything back to the donor. However, it's worth noting that the giver can clearly attach obligations on exactly how that money must be utilized by the charity. So, contrasting these two makes them super easy to remember. Voluntary service is all about those spontaneous, everyday acts of humanity, like returning that lost phone. Charity, on the other hand, is much more structured. It provides funding for survival, and it often comes with specific utilization rules attached by the donor. Both totally bypass that standard exchange rule of contracts. Section 4. The agency exception. Let's step out of our personal lives for a second and look at a really unique situation in the business world. In this setup, agents act purely as mediators. The agency itself bears all the risk, and the agent doesn't actually expect a standard fixed salary. To make this concrete, let's look at an LIC insurance agent. They work as a mediator between the LIC company and the customers. They explain the policies, but they take on absolutely no risk. And because they work on a commission basis rather than a fixed salary, the agency isn't promising an exact fixed consideration. Yet this professional relationship legally operates as a completely valid contract under the agency exception. Section 5. Final legal takeaways. All right, let's quickly recap our 5 big exceptions under Section 25. Natural love requires written and registered documents among family, like a brother helping a brother. Voluntary service requires no return expectation, like simply returning a lost phone. Charity involves funds given for survival, like an orphanage donation. The gift exception covers gifted property, like an inheritance. And finally, agency covers risk-free mediators, like that LIC agent working purely on commission. So I'll leave you with this final, kind of mind-bending thought. Have you ever entered into a one-sided legal contract without even knowing it? Maybe you returned a lost wallet or received a generous gift from a friend. By doing so, you were actually participating in a fascinating exception to the Indian Contract Act. I hope this explainer has given you a whole new perspective on the legal world around you. Thanks so much for joining me.